Hey man, is this the strip club? You got ID? I'm meeting a couple friends here. You got ID? Yeah, no problem. Oh, jeez. Thank you. Alrighty, come on in. No touching. Yeah, you got it, man. You got it. Got drinks and everything. Oh man, I didn't want to see that. Alrighty, today's probably going to be just a quick video. We are going to be assembling EcoWorthy's 6-tier server rack. Let's get to it. Boom, there you go. Got it all put together and it was super easy. Really easy. There was only a couple of screws that I did have a little bit of trouble with, and that's just because there's no room to turn the bolt or screw with the Allen wrench that they give you, and those are going to be the ones down here at the very bottom. If you use the Allen wrench that came with it, just understand you're only going to get like a quarter turn, and it's going to be a big pain in the ass doing that. So what I ended up doing was using my own flexible extension right here with an Allen bit on the end, so I could get in there to tighten it down a little bit easier. But if you do use something like this, you are going to run into another issue, is the screws that attach the rail right here. The screws go through and are kind of in the way whenever you're using something like this. So if I have any sort of suggestion when you're putting this together and you're using, you know, something like this so you can make it go a little faster, maybe leave out the bottom two rails and you'll be able to get those bolts in a little bit easier. But other than that, it went together fan-freaking-tastic. Now, another quick little note or honorable mention I want to give is the casters that they're using. They are phenomenal. I've never actually seen casters like this before. I've seen them in other videos on other products, but not, you know, not in person. And they're fan-freaking-tastic because not only can they support a crap ton of weight, but they have the little extendable feet that you can, basically whenever you get it into your final position, you lower the feet down so the whole rack rests on those feet and it's never going to move again. And of course, since there's one on each corner, this whole rack can support like 1,100 pounds, which is crazy. But if you do put 6 in here, you're only going to be, you know, right around 600 pounds worth of batteries, and then another, you know, 50 or 60 pounds worth of, you know, random metal. Also about these casters is they are really, really smooth, and it rolls or spins really, really nice. So if you need to roll this around in your garage or in your basement like I'm gonna be doing, you know, on concrete floor at least, it's gonna roll really, really nice. You know, and then we can lower those feet down whenever we get there. As far as like sturdiness, I mean, just sitting here right now, you know, it seems pretty sturdy. I think once we get the actual batteries in there and maybe, you know, move it around, then we'll find out if it's a little more sturdy. But right now, it does seem pretty sturdy. The ones in the back that crisscross, that's going to keep it from, you know, going back and forth, stuff like that. So yeah, I would say all in all, it is a pretty decent rack. It doesn't have any bus bars, you know, across the sides or anything like that. Obviously, there's no door. It's basically a bare bones 6-tier rack. Yeah, you're not going to get anything crazy with it, so keep that in mind. If we take some measurements real quick, so outside to outside is 20 3/4. Inside to inside is 17 3/8. If we do the height in here is about 5 3/4. All right, so not quite the 3U standards, just a little bit thicker. And I think that's gonna account for the new version 3 batteries. I think version 2 were actually, you know, 5 1/4, but the new ones are a little bit bigger. So if you have other server rack batteries, they have to be under 5 3/4. And if we rotate it to the side for our depth, we are just shy of 20 7/8. And on the bottom right corner, we are gonna get a ground attachment point for the ground screws, so you can ground all the batteries to the frame right here. And for the mounting screws for the server rack batteries, it looks like each one has 4 different mounting options. So it does allow for version 1, 2, and 3. And the back side's gonna give you a little bit of structure rigidity with the crosshatch pattern. And on top, it's gonna have their eco-worthy logo. Nice. If you wanna get this rack for free, then you have to buy 4 of the server rack batteries. This is version 2. I have version 3 sitting right over here on this little guy over here because we're gonna load it up here in just a second. But anyway, 2 different ways to get the 6-tier rack. On the website, it clearly shows it's $299, or if you buy a 4-pack of the server rack batteries. All right, let's get this put down. All right, I'm not loading the batteries in up on here because I'm gonna have to pull them out and then do this all over again. So we will just put them out on the ground. Nice. Oh, I forgot to show the height. So what's really, really good, at least for me, is the height. And the total height from ground to the very, very top edge is just under 44.5 inches at 44 3/8. Which is actually perfect for me specifically because it'll fit right underneath my basement stairs. Nice. Okay, I'm just gonna load in probably 1 or 2 of these for right now. Tell you what, these little lifts are really, really nice to have. Boom, there we go. Just got 3 batteries installed. I still have 1 sitting up there on the bench right there. I'm not gonna put that in quite yet. I'll do that here in just a little bit. I just wanted to see, see what it looked like, see what we got. And I would say it looks fan-freaking-tastic so far. And since this is all brand new and the metal's, nice and clean, The batteries slid in just like butter. So one thing you're going to make sure is do not forget your little tiny screws that hold the server rack batteries in. The only thing is I wish they would have supplied black screws instead of the stainless steel screws. But yeah, basically you can put 4 screws in there, 4 screws per battery, and you know it's going to hold them in there and they're never going to slide out again. Yeah, there you go. I would say that looks really, really nice. Now, one thing that you can hopefully see is from version 2 to version 3, they have swapped the positive and negatives around. So if you already have version 1 and version 2 and you're thinking about getting, you know, just more batteries for more capacity, and you get version 3, just understand that the positive and negatives have swapped, and you're going to need, you know, longer cables to go from one side to the other so you can parallel the batteries together. You know, you're going to have somewhat of a crisscross basically, which is another reason why I didn't put version 2 inside yet. I'm actually going to see if I can just pull off the top real quick and see if the wires are long enough where I can swap the positive and negative around on version 2 to match version 3. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention real quick is obviously, again, there's no bus bars, you know, there's no cover or anything like that. So if that is a problem for you, obviously, you know, it doesn't come with it. I think you could potentially add bus bars maybe along this backside back here, which maybe I will do in the future. Well, I guess if I did do that, the wires would have to be long enough to come around the outside to go to the bus bar right there. Or if we put a bus bar in this little, you know, crevice area right there, possibly. I don't know. I have no idea. We'll have to figure that out later on in the road. And I guess if you did need to add, you know, like a plexiglass door or something like that, you could potentially do that as well. I know you can get, you know, plexiglass from, you know, the hardware stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, stuff like that. I would imagine you could find some sort of hinge or something that you could come out so you could go past, you know, the handles and stuff and then close and open up, stuff like that. So I don't know, those are just potential options. Just understand that there's no doors, there's no bus bars, there's no nothing. It's basically a open air bare bones rack. I think the reason why they did it this way, or at least according to their website, is it allows heat dissipation and stuff like that. Basically you can kind of see right between each battery, and that just allows a little heat dissipation, which I don't know if that's 100% necessary or not. I mean, I wouldn't think that these batteries would get super hot, even if you are running them, you know, a lot. If you have 6 batteries and you're running 12,000 watts, I mean, I don't know. That's just a thought. Yeah, it's not like a EG4 server rack battery, or actually it's not like my server rack battery that I have back here from my old 18650 Powerwall. Yes, I still have this. It's definitely not one of these racks. This rack is probably pretty expensive. You know, it's fully enclosed. It's got a door on it, you know. And another crazy thing about this, which is kind of dark back here, is this cabinet is super, super deep. So you can add basically any server rack battery, you know, that you have in there. So anyway, it's definitely not EG4 or one of these type of server rack right here. Alrighty, so one other thing I was going to mention is if you have a full rack of 6, remember you have all the ground points right here because it came with ground wires and all that kind of stuff. You are going to want to daisy chain those all together and then finally attach it down here on the bottom so everything is basically connected together and grounded. Okay, so don't forget that. And I guess if you only have like 3 or 4, maybe start from the bottom and work your way up. That way you can start there and work your way down and still be able to connect to the ground point down there. Okay, yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got for the server rack. I mean, overall, I would say it is a pretty decent build. You know, it's not an EG4 server rack or anything like that. It's basically a bare bones rack, you know? I mean, what you see is what you get. Overall, I would say not bad. All right, there you go. That's going to be the quick, down and dirty version of the 6-tier eco-worthy server rack. All right. Again, it's you know, it's like a bare bones server rack. It doesn't come with any bells or whistles, no doors, no bus bars. You know, it's not an EG4 rack or, you know, a regular IBM server rack or anything like that. It's basically designed for the eco-worthy batteries, and that's pretty much it. If you have other server rack batteries already, if they fit in 5 3/4, then you should be able to put those in there, you know, as long as the depth is okay. And just like I said at the beginning of the video, there's two different ways that you can get this. One way is gonna be if you buy a couple of batteries. If you buy 4 batteries, you're gonna get a free 6-tier server rack, basically the one that I showed you right here. Or if you have the batteries and you need a rack, you can get that as well. And if I scroll down, that is basically $299 or $300 basically. So overall, I would say it's not that bad. I don't think my discount code works for the rack. I will have to find out about that. If it does work, you know, I'll put that info down in the description. I know in the last video when we were taking a look at version 3 of the server rack batteries, they offered a $60 off, you know, coupon code. And then a couple people mentioned that whenever they tried to go buy some server rack batteries, put in my code, it actually only gave them $20 off. And there was, I guess, a slight mix up whenever I got all the information. Yeah, basically what happened is, I guess the original price, we'll just say, was $900. And then if you use my code, you would get $60 off, which would bring the price down to like $840. But what they did is they lowered the price of the server rack battery and then changed the code so it was only $20 off. You know, basically it all equals the same, if that makes sense. You're either paying $900 or you're paying $849, you know, minus 20 or whatever it was. That's what the mix-up was. So anyway, if any of my codes work, I'll put those down in the description. If anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, you know, whatever you want, make sure you put those down in the comment section. If this video was helpful in any way, don't forget to like that smash button on your way out, and I'll see you on the cool shirt, dude. No.